Welcome to NOLAStamping. So I'm Barb Baldwin, and today we're going to take a quick look at the stamp of the month from Close to My Heart. It's called From All of Us, and you'll notice that the cute little owls have lines around them. That means that they have like an available die that goes with it. So if you're into the dies, you're able to get that to go with it. But for today's demonstration, you're not going to need a die for that. Okay, so we're just going to need a couple of pieces of paper. So we're going to have a white daisy card base and a piece of white daisy that's 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. So kind of a rectangle sort of looking thing. So then we're going to need a couple pieces of mink, like a 2-inch circle, and a piece we're going to dovetail, so that's 1/2 inch by 1 1/2 inches. And then a few pieces of toffee, like a light brown color, light tan, and that is 1/4 inch by about 5 1/2 inches. And another piece that's 3 inches by 2 1/2 inches. And then we're going to need a piece that comes from the Close to My Heart mix-in. So just, you need a piece that's got like a smallish kind of pattern on it. And that is 5 1/2 inches wide by 1 1/2 inches tall. Okay, let's get to the fun part. Let's get to stamping. So we're going to take the piece of foam that comes with the stamp set, and we're going to stamp on top of it. It's not just for packaging. It softens up any surface so that you get a good impression from a stamp. So we're going to get the 2-inch mink circle and the piece of white daisy that's 2 1/4 inches by 2 3/4 inch. And I'm laying out the stamps on where we're going to stamp them. So we're going to want the owl in the center of the white daisy square. And then we're going to want on the mink circle, the very top of it, we're going to stamp the sentiment in pine or a dark green ink. So I'm first seasoning the stamp since this is the first time I'm using them. And you'll see I'm just applying some ink and then pushing down at the very top of the 2-inch circle. So for the owl, I'm going to use markers to color them in, and so that means that I need to use either a black Memento ink or the Close to My Heart Intense Black ink. So that'll make it so that the markers don't bleed as much, and it'll give you a better color later. So I'm just taking that stamp, putting it on a larger block. I'm going to season it on my arm again. And then I just re-inked my Intense Black ink, so it's a super gushy. So I'm being very careful to make sure to get ink all over the image area, and then I'm just kind of double checking to make sure that everything is inked up in black before I stamp down that first time. Okay, so I didn't get as great of an impression as I wanted, but this is actually pretty good because it'll give you an idea on what to do if you run into the same issues. So I'm taking my favorite green marker, the TriBlend Alpine marker, and I really like it because it has 3 shades of the same color in the same pen. And so it makes doing shading and stuff really super easy. So I'm going to take the light edge and I'm going in and coloring just with the light version of it, the scarf and the hat. And then I'm taking the dark color and then filling in the scarf. And then if you just a way to cheat to get the best coloring on stamps is to find where the lines are and then do the shadows kind of around the lines. The artists have already figured out where the best shadows are, and they sort of indicate that by putting a line there. So if you go in and fill in with that color, then it makes it a lot easier to get a good colored image. So next I'm going to take golden brown, and it's the same thing. It's got 3 different shades of like a nice tan brown color, and I'm using the dark side to go in and color the lines, and then I'm scribbling over everything with the light side because the ink will sort of like smoosh together in the final version. So I'm just taking the 2 gold brown markers with the 3 different shades each, and then coloring in his face, and then I'm using citrus and burnt orange on the beak and the little feet, and just filling everything in. I'm going to speed it up so that you can see the final way that it comes together. So one of the things that I love about the alcohol markers is that the more layers you put on, the more like the color absorbs into each other, and it just turns more into a gradient. So I just love how it comes out looking really smooth and really professional. So I've spent all that time. I want to make sure that the rest of the lines and stuff look just as good. So what I like to do is take like a really thin, like a journaling pen, and I'm using a dark gray or a black pen, and I'll just run over some of the lines. So I go over, like the eyes didn't stamp really well, so I go over those. And then I take a white gel pen and I go through and I clean up anything that I might have, like if I went over the lines a little bit, or if I want to accent the eyes or put little like dots in the eyes, like I can do that, or add a little bit of highlight onto the scarf. Perfect time to do that. Well, now that the image is done, the hero image, what we want to do is put the rest of the card together. So I'm taking some liquid adhesive. You could also use like a tape runner if that's what you've got instead. And I'm putting the 1/4 inch tan toffee a 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the card base. And then I'm using like a tape runner on the back of the mix-in paper, and I'm butting it exactly up against that toffee piece. And so what I'm doing to make the dovetail is I just snip in with my scissors and then go from each one of the edges. And what I'm going to do is play around with the placement a little bit. So I want to see where I can put things. Like I really want to put the like sentiment where it says thanks for owl you do. I want to use that circle. So I'm using a paper crafting tool to pick up the mix-in paper and put that like directly behind, and then I'm just going to use a little bit more of the tape runner to put it down so it stays there. I love that paper crafting tool because it picks paper up like if you've just put it down, you can just use it to peel up the papers and sneak something out, so it's like an undo tool almost. So I'm going to use some of my extra 3D foam dots from a shaker pack that I have. Like this is a great secret. Like they have a bunch of extra little pieces on the inside of the shaker packs, and you can use those for 3D foam squares, and there's always like a ton of them. And so I'm going to take the dovetail, I place it in a couple of different places just to give it, to make sure what it looks like. And I decide to use it on the edge of the card. And I put it where I feel like it should be, and then I just use scissors to sort of snip off the edge so that it's got like a nice clean edge on the side. So the last thing to do is to just add a couple little embellishments. I love these enamel dots. I use my scissors to put them on because it's easier to like see the placement. You know, you just put them on the edge of your scissors, and then you can decide whether you want them there or not. Or you can use the clear carrier, and it just gives you a good idea of what it should, whether it should be there or not. So, and they're really easy to move. So that's what I did. I put a couple on the dovetail. I put one up by that circle, and I feel like that is good. Well, thanks for building this card along with me, and I hope that it gives you some inspiration on how to use the Stamp of the Month from Close to My Heart. And in the description below, I have a link to all of the materials that I used. And if you want to see more tutorials, make sure you check out my website. All right, thanks, and stay crafty.